physically. Now check it out. Look at verse 22. John 6 and 22. Now the following day, when the people who were standing on the other side of the sea saw that there was no other boat there, except that the one which his disciples had entered, and that Jesus had not entered the boat with his disciples, but his disciples had gone away alone. However, other boats came from Tiberias near the place where they ate bread after the Lord had given thanks. When the people therefore saw that Jesus was not there, nor his disciples, they also got into boats and came to Capernaum, seeking Jesus. And when they found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, Rabbi, or teacher, when did you come here? Pause right there real quick. So again, what is going on here? This multitude of people see, after they're fed by Jesus, he goes up into the mountain to pray. And he sends his disciples to the other side of the sea while he's sitting there by himself. There's only one boat, and all the people see the disciples get into the boat, go across the sea to the other side, while Jesus is not with them. But the next day, they're like, well, Jesus isn't here. There's only one boat. What happened to him? Well, they didn't know, but we know from verse 15 to 21, we see that Jesus actually, he's like, I don't need a boat. I'm just going to water ski across the lake. And in the middle of the night, the disciples were in the boat and they're rowing, and there's a big windstorm that came up and they're freaking out. And Jesus was just like, yo, dude, what's up? You guys having a tough time getting to the other side? And they all got freaked out, like, oh, it's a ghost, and he's like, peace. Be still, it's all good. And in fact, that's actually when Peter, in another gospel account, was like, that's Jesus. Hey, that's pretty cool. I'd like to water ski right here too. Jesus, is that you? Call me out. He's like, yeah, Pete, go ahead and try it. And Peter actually started floating on the water too, until he got his eyes on Jesus, right? And immediately sank. So Jesus rolled, and then in a minute, he comes into the boat and they go to the other side. Now the people watching, again, they didn't see all this go down, so they're wondering, how did Jesus get to the other side? This is kind of weird. And that's what they're asking him right here. In 25, they found him on the other side of the sea, and they was like, Rabbi, when did you come here? Like, how did you get over to the other side? There's no other boats. And watch Jesus' reply. He doesn't even answer the question. He gets right to the point. I love Jesus. He doesn't mess around. 26, Jesus answered them and said, most assuredly I say to you, you seek me. Watch. Not because you saw the signs, but because you ate of the loaves and were filled. I love that. They weren't coming to Jesus to try to hang out with him because they loved him, and they saw, man, I saw the signs that he's the Messiah. Let's follow him. Dude, they were hungry again. They got hooked up. Remember, they were stuffed from those 5 loaves and 2 fish. Their physical need, their immediate need was filled. But you know what? They were hungry the next day. So they're like, man, let me go find him. You see, and that begs the question to you and I. Why do you and I really follow Christ? Are you following Christ because if I do things right and I follow him, he's going to hook me up? He's going to hook me up physically, financially. It's all going to be gravy. Can I tell you? Jesus is rebuking that right now. He's saying, you seek me because you ate. You're temporarily filled. That's not the case. I think there's this, in Christianity today, there's this sect that's kind of the name it and claim it, prosperity type movement. Now, hear me now. God wants to bless us. I understand that. But there's a sect in here that says, in Christianity, it says, you know what? If you come to Jesus, your life is just going to be blessed, and next thing you know, you're going to be rich, and you're going to be rolling in the Escalade, and you know. Jesus says, in this world, you're going to have trials. It's not always going to be gravy. And he's really going to test us, and he's really going to see what we're really following and what our motivation of our heart is. Now, verse 27, I think you want to underline, because this is probably the key verse of this entire passage. And there's a lot of verses here. Now watch this. 27 says, do not labor for the food which perishes, but for the food which endures to everlasting life, which the Son of Man will give you, because God the Father has set his seal on him. Go ahead and underline that and marinate on that for a second. Don't labor for the food which perishes, but for the food which endures to everlasting life. How many in here have 3 meals a day? Can I see that? Okay. Okay. How many 4 or 5? Some of you bodybuilders, yeah. There you go, Luke. Yeah, Bob. Okay. Let me ask you another question. How many times do you get in God's Word? Can I see? Do we have 3 times a day we get into God's Word? Right? It's crazy. Isn't that crazy? We have a physical hunger. And hey, it's not like I'm telling you, hey, if you're not getting in the Word 3 times a day, you're not really a Christian. I'm not saying that. But isn't it interesting that we take care of our physical body, but we're starving our spiritual man? Isn't that a wild thing? And then we wonder, what's going on in my life? Why is this all messed up? I'm feeding my spirit, my physical man, but I'm starving my spiritual man. He says, don't labor for that food that perishes. You're going to eat, and then you're going to eliminate, and you're going to be hungry again. Jesus says, don't be striving for that food. Strive for the food that endures to everlasting life. 28. Now they said to him, what shall we do that we may work the works of God? You ever thought that? What do I need to do to really get right with God? What do I have to do? 29. Jesus answered and said to them, this is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he sent. What? Believe? That's it? This is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he sent. You see, you have 2 different things going on. You have religion and you have relationship. Religion says, I'm going to work my way to get to God. And you see the religions in the world, and they're all set up that way. If I can do this, and this, then maybe I'll reach God. It's a works-based thing to be able to connect with God. You know what Christianity is? It's a relationship. The work, singular, has been done. What was the work? The cross. When Jesus Christ was crucified, the work was done. The penalty was paid to connect you and I back with a perfect God. Note takers, write down Ephesians 2, 8, and 9, please. The Bible says clearly, for by grace you've been saved, through faith, not of works. It says right in there. And that it's not of yourselves, it's the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. You see, if I could work my way to God, I could brag about it. I'm a pretty spiritual guy. I do this, and this. And God says, no, it's by grace you've been saved. This work has been completed. You know, one of the last words that Jesus said on the cross was tetelestai, which means paid in full. It's finished. The work is done. So some of you guys in here that are striving, you're striving to approach God and you're trying to work your way into God's favor, you can cease from that. The work is believing that Jesus has paid that penalty. It's already taken care of for you. You need to understand that. Now verse 30 says, therefore they said to him, well, what sign will you perform then, that we may see it and believe you? I mean, come on, dude. Did you just see what's been going on? All the miracles? Wow. What work will you do? Now this is interesting. Verse 31 says, our fathers ate the manna in the desert, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. Okay, now I want you to turn over to Exodus 16 real quick. You'll kind of understand the background of what these Jews are talking about. Exodus 16. Now, I want to set up the situation here for those who've never read Exodus 16. You kind of don't know what's going down with this. Exodus 16, what's happening? The Jews, again, were held in bondage in Egypt for years and years and years. They cried out to be released from their bondage. And God heard their cry.